So there is 32 of us here, and let us start. This webinar will go as a series of slides and also a live introduction to the system, showing it how it works directly on the platform. But first, as I imagine not all of you have much experience with SmartCAT, I want also to include topics about SmartCAT itself and its marketplace, what it is and how you can use it. So I will now share my screen, and you won't see my face for now. Okay. Today's webinar is called Getting and Executing Orders on SmartCAT. It will be structured with the following topics. First of all, we will discuss what is SmartCAT and SmartCAT marketplace, as I already said. Then we will get into the very basics of executing projects in SmartCAT in general. Then we will discuss how you can make an engaging profile that your customers will love and that will make them hire you. Then we will also discuss the topic of staying on top of search results and the algorithms that are used in SmartCAT to rank people who are listed as freelancers. Then we will switch to executing marketplace orders and how you do it. So then we will talk a bit about how you can talk to the customer and how you should talk to the customer and what means and tools exist for this in SmartCAT. And finally, we will speak about the do's and don'ts of executing customer orders in SmartCAT. So first of all, let's start with what SmartCAT is. So SmartCAT is an online platform for managing translation projects and for executing translation projects. It is totally free for both freelancers and translation agencies and end users. We make it possible through a monetization framework in which we earn on getting a small commission, namely 10% commission, on orders placed on SmartCAT marketplace, the very thing that we are discussing now. So I could talk at length about the beauties of SmartCAT, but I will just now focus on the main features that I find the most exciting. All these features I mentioned are built in. It means that you don't need any other software, any installation or something to use them. So these are translation memories, glossaries, which are also built in. These are collaboration features, which we will take a look at a bit later, that allow a huge number of people to work simultaneously on a project, and which makes SmartCAT one of the things which makes SmartCAT so attractive for customers. It also features offline saving, so if your internet connection is suddenly broken, everything stays fine, and once it is restored, you get to your project once again, and all the information is uploaded to the cloud. It also includes alignment feature where you can use your existing original documents and translations to make new translation memories, which is very useful when you are switching from some other system and want to reuse your existing translations. It also features machine translation, which can also be free when provided from Microsoft, and you can also opt for paid machine translation by other providers, but in general the Microsoft one is usually quite sufficient. Of course, we all understand that machine translation is a tricky topic. I don't want to talk here about whether it's good or bad, because we do have a lot of post-editing projects going on. I'm sure many of you were enlisted in one of such recent projects, which for now unfortunately was put on hold, but anyway, you can execute both post-editing and pure translation orders on SmartCAT. And last but not least, we have an API which allows companies to build SmartCAT into their websites and manage their workflow from their familiar environment. I'm sorry for that. I will turn on notifications from my me see. I guess I cannot turn them on. Anyway, so now about SmartCAT Marketplace. It's the marketplace where customers find translators, where they hire them, and where they track the progress of projects, and when finally translators get paid. Some interesting features of the marketplace is that unlike many other platforms, here translators work under their own names. We don't hire them under some IDs or numbers or whatever. We engage and motivate them to market themselves as professionals and to grow together with us. You are also free to set whatever rate you want and work under this rate. As I already said, you also execute the orders on the same platform where customers find you. It allows you to collaborate in huge amounts, and it also allows the customers and yourself also to track the progress of projects and to see how quick it is going and to see if you are going to meet the deadline or not, for instance. Last but not least, you are also paid on the same platform via PayPal or wire transfers, and other options are also now in the works. It is very attractive for end customers because in such a way, if they, for instance, hire 100 translators for some project, they only work directly with us, and we work directly with each and every freelancer. For our services, we take 10% of your rate, which is also a very low value for the market, but we manage to use it efficiently and effectively, and this monetization model proves itself capable, and we are not going to change it anytime soon. So the SmartCAT features, all the SmartCAT features and technologies are going to stay free for all of you. By the way, I think you have a capability to ask questions here. I don't know how exactly your dashboard looks like, but there should be a section called questions. And I will now finish after one more slide this first part of the webinar, but you can already ask some questions, and I will answer after this section. I see that, for instance, sorry, you can see the name. Maria says, thanks, Anna. You're welcome, Maria. As I said, I'm not exactly Anna. I'm going to fix it by the next webinar. But for now, you can just call me Vova. Okay, so finally, when we talk about SmartCAT and SmartCAT Marketplace, I want to put in some figures that can motivate you to engage into SmartCAT. We have more than 3 million words translated daily, and we have 60,000 translators on the platform and 1,500 customers, more than 100 of which look for new translators daily. You can do the calculations yourself, but let me tell you that translators do get quite a lot of orders here, unlike many other platforms where you have to engage into click wars, where you have to be the fastest clicker. Here you can actually even choose the projects you want to work on, provided you have an engaging profile, of course, which we will come to back later. Okay, so these numbers are counting fast. We are growing fast. We are planning to be multifold, many times bigger by the end of the year, but okay, let's concentrate on what we have now. Anyway, these numbers are far from saturation. It means that there is a lot of place to grow for us with the technologies we provide. So that's it. Let me see the questions you have. Can I get the manual to read? Yes, we have an online help. Please write me after this webinar. I will give you a link where you can do this, Ibrahim. What else do we have? It's not very convenient to use here. Also, Svetlana asks, could you please explain more in detail how to connect PayPal to SmartCAT platform on the SmartCAT screen? Yes, I will come back to this where I will be talking about filling in your profile. Han asks, "Hi Vova, I've accepted one contract by accident and wanted to cancel. After the contract has started, it cannot be cancelled by freelancer. The client had difficulties cancelling it too, suggesting optimization on this." Thank you. Yes, we are working on this. Bugs do happen. We are now slightly more than 1 year old, so sorry in advance for all the bugs, but let me assure you our support team is one of the most engaged support teams I have ever seen. And if you have any problems, do write to them and they will provide you the best possible support you can imagine. PayPal payments cannot be accepted in e.g. Ukraine. Yes, that's a problem. We're working on to introduce many more options. For now, you can opt for wire transfers, which I guess work all over the world. Of course, it may include some commissions, but if your earnings are above $700, we will cover the commission. Should I support any charges getting paid through PayPal? Joel. No, we cover PayPal commissions. Can't hear any voice. Can anyone else hear the voice? Yan Kong, I think you are having some problems on your side. So I'm not sure how, but you should have an audio section where you can configure this. Okay guys, for now let us stick to this topic which I was talking about. We will have hopefully quite an extensive Q&A session in the end where I will be able to answer all of your answers in more detail. For now, let us switch to other topics. I will just browse through the existing questions. Thank you for asking so many of them. It's really exciting to see such an active discussion. One question here is what is our commission? As I said, it's just 10%. So for instance, if you set your rate as 5 cents per word, then the customer pays 5.5 cents per word. That's it. Okay, let's go to the next topic and we will come back later for more questions. Executing projects in SmartCAT. As this is a webinar on, not exactly on SmartCAT, but SmartCAT Marketplace, I will not show in detail how you execute the projects. I will just give you a video which shows how you can sign up and execute a small project in SmartCAT in less than 1 minute. I made it a while ago and I think it will show you the basics. And you will understand that SmartCAT is very easy to learn and there is nothing to be afraid of working with it, because I know that some CAT tools do have quite a learning curve. Here is this video I'm talking about. Let us take a look. It starts from the very sign up. I'm sorry the video quality is not too good. I will send you a link afterwards. So we created a freelance translator. The next thing we do, we just take a document and upload it to the big circle. We configure the languages. Just for the avoidance of doubt, I'm now showing how to execute your own projects in SmartCAT. Let's say you get an order from your own customer and you want to save time. That's why you don't translate it in some other CAT tool or just in MS Word, but you instead go to SmartCAT, upload it, choose the languages, and here it is. It's already uploaded, processed. You just click on it and wait for the editor to open. The editor interface is quite distraction-free. You get a quick tutorial in the beginning. So basically to the left you have the source, to the right you have the target which you have to fill in. Here is some motivating text I made for this promotion. Some things worth noting is in the top part you can see the progress bar. As you are translating the document, the progress bar goes to the right and you see where you are. Also you can see, for instance, in the third segment there are these yellow thingies which we call tags. They denote some formatting in the initial document. Unlike some other CAT tools, we do not provide what you see is what you get for now. If you ask me, I like that more than when you, for instance, have formatting in the document, because in this case you get distracted sometimes on colors, italics, bolds, and so on. Here you can concentrate on what you are doing, the translation. Here you go. After you have translated the document, just click download the translation, and it's already there. One thing worth noting is that some people think that it doesn't make sense to use CAT tools to translate short documents. With SmartCAT it's quite different, because the workflow is so fast, so easy to learn. You can use it even for documents that are just 100 words long. Just a second, I will come back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. So that's the video. Before we go to the next part, I will read your questions about executing projects in SmartCAT. Hopefully I can make this dashboard a bit more friendly. How SmartCAT can be compared to TransFX? Sorry, don't have the competence to answer right now, but please do write this to me at vova@smartcat.ai, and I will do the necessary research and write you back. Pavel. Is it all? Anything else? Okay. What is connection between getting jobs in CAT and ABBYY services? Thank you, that's an excellent question. There is no connection at all. So, as some of you might know, SmartCAT started off as an in-house development by ABBYY, more precisely ABBYY Language Services, but it soon became obvious that it has such great potential that it cannot be held inside and should be released to the market for all market participants to use. After that, we started a process of gradual spinning out from ABBYY, and it ended actually this summer. We became a totally independent company. We found another funding, so for now there is no connection between ABBYY and SmartCAT at all. Still, ABBYY Language Services is one of our customers, and they also do place a lot of orders on SmartCAT where you can participate. Is it possible to use SmartCAT offline? As a freelancer, mainly no, because it is a cloud online service. Still, if you lose your connection, you don't lose your translation, because it is stored on the local drive in the browser's local storage. So once the connection is restored, you get back to editing. But if you are an LSP, you can opt for a hosted version where you are not in the cloud, rather than you have your own installation of SmartCAT. But I think that's not exactly what you asked for, so let's skip it for now. What file formats are supported? Thank you, Inma. A lot of file formats are supported. It's hard to list each of them, but of course all Office formats, all kinds of formats usually used in translating subtitles or strings for some programming projects, and also PDF is supported together with optical character recognition. OCR is a paid service just because it is not provided by us, rather than we purchase it from a third party. That's why we have to sell it. But the price is so low that you can buy, I think, 60 pages at $1 or something like this. Which cloud service is used by SmartCAT? Aman Asubai. Aman, I'm not sure what exactly you ask for. We have data centers, but I'm not sure if there is any layer between us and the physical hardware. As I understand it, there is none. Please do write me additionally after this webinar so I can research the topic, but I think that we just write the code from the ground up. Are Excel files supported by SmartCAT? Yes, of course, Excel files are supported, and when an Excel file is uploaded, you can choose the cells and the ranges you want to translate so that you don't have any redundant volume. After translation, is SmartCAT possible to transform the translation document to an independent PDF file? Well, not really, but if you translate a PDF, the translation is provided as a doc file, but you can always use, for instance, Word's export to PDF functionality to create a PDF file, so there is usually no problem in doing this. What are the differences in the usage of SmartCAT when you receive a project or if you upload your own? Excellent question. There are many differences. When you upload your own project, you have full control over it. You can upload translation memories, glossaries. When you execute a customer order, you can basically just translate. Moreover, some things that you can usually do in your editor, you better not do in a customer project. I will come back to this when we'll be talking about executing orders on the marketplace. Okay, that's all for the questions now. Let's come to the next topic. Making an engaging profile. Okay, from now on I will switch to the real environment. You will get this presentation I am now showing afterwards, so you will be able to recall some things to refresh your knowledge, but for now I will just switch to my newly created translator whose name is Robert Mendez. Of course, it's not a real person, I just created it to show you what we can do here. So to open your profile, you go to your picture and press My Profile. So I want to say that all the fields that are provided are worth filling in. They were researched with the aim to find those that are really engaging for the customers. But we will go one by one. By the way, as you increase your profile strength, as you fill in your profile, when you reach 100%, you get 100 pages of OCR for free. I know it's a huge bonus, quotation marks, but it's something that can engage you, but I would say that the orders you can get after filling in your profile should be much more engaging than any other carrots, let's say so. So what we can do here, first of all, we can upload a photo. I don't have a photo at the moment, though I could have uploaded mine, but I would say that profiles with pictures, with photos, according to our research, get several tens of % more response than profiles with standard pictures. And it's quite understood because a lot of orders is given by customers without doing an extensive research of who the translator is. So having a photo makes you closer to the customer and gives your profile a personal feel. Also, I would say it is very important to fill in the short bio, which is now located under education and experiences. It might be not the most usable location. We're working to maybe change it, but for now you just write here not too long, maybe in several sentences, because you can put more in the CV that you will upload. Here you write something that will make your profile engaging for the customers. I will not, of course, make up now the whole description. I will just start and we will leave it as it is. So you add your work experience, because customers do like experienced translators more, but I would say that some customers do actually like translators who have not as much experience, because they can be more flexible in their terms and conditions. So you put your actual year here. There is no reason to lie about it. You also can add your university. We have a list of universities here, I guess. I'm not sure if they're all here, but in any case, sorry, I don't know Spanish universities. Okay, we have Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. I will do it like this. Let's put it like this. Now coming back, it of course makes sense to indicate your time zone, because when an order is placed, the customer will see an icon indicating if you have daytime or nighttime here. So indicating this makes you more likely to receive invitations during your daytime. Do indicate your native language, because the search engine initially looks for native speakers of the target language. It is also a touchy topic, because I know many translators, including myself, think that it is not a must for a translator to be native in the language they translate to, but you don't argue with a customer who looks for a translator. It makes sense to indicate it correctly just as it is. For the time being, you cannot set bilingual native languages, but you can always indicate that in your bio if you are really bilingual. Then you of course have to set your language pairs in which you work. For instance, I have already set here Spanish to English with your rate. You can also set different rates for different kinds of services you provide. Here you also have post-editing, as you see. Oh, sorry, not proofreading at 1.0.3 cents, but at 3 cents. So as you update it, you can see already here the price for you and the price for the customer, which as you can see is 10% bigger. You also can add any other languages, and also you can add without the source language, just the target language if you do proofreading in this language. Here you go. So it makes a lot of sense to fill as many contact data as you can, because when a project comes, the customer is likely to be worrying about finding the right freelancer fast. So he will give preference to profiles with freelancers who can respond quickly to his request. For instance, if they decline the invitation, he would call them or he would ping them on Skype. So it makes sense to indicate all the details you can. Also, take a look at this checkbox. If you indicate your phone number, you will receive SMS notifications each time you are invited to a project. Huh, that's funny. It didn't save my blah blah blah. Here you have a bug which happened and which I will take care of after this webinar. For now I will leave it as it is. I think I just forgot to click save the last time. Okay, you have it here. Of course, it does not make sense to write blah 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 in your real profile. And last but not least, it makes sense to upload your resume or CV and upload your translation examples, certificates, anything else you have. Because many customers do look at these things, especially when we are talking about language service providers, which constitute a large number of our customers and which always look at the CVs and other documents you can provide. There you go. Also, let's talk about setting up the PayPal. You go to the menu. You must go to it from your profile, not here from the workspace because you will not have the billing item here, but from your profile. Billing. You must choose your country because the payment terms depend on it. I'm not sure if PayPal works in Spain, but I think so. Then you press plus, and there is also a requirement from us that the PayPal address should be the same as your SmartCAT registration address. If it is not the case, you have two options. Either you can change your SmartCAT address, which is not hard to do. It is done in your workspace. You go to your profile menu, email addresses, you just enter your new email, your current password, press save, then you get an activation link on your new email, and if you click it, your SmartCAT address is changed. So no problem here. In some countries, SmartCAT also allows having several emails. Oh no, sorry, not SmartCAT, but in some countries PayPal allows having several email addresses, and you can use that option as well. So that's it for filling your profile. One thing I should note is that just having an excellent profile is not enough to getting a lot of orders, and there are several other criteria used in ranking search results, which I will come back in the next section. And now we can discuss some questions if you have. Questions, anyone? Oh, sorry, I missed that there actually were some questions. Okay, Han asks, Vova, try entering a space in about me. I'm not sure what it will make, but let us try. Not here, sorry. I'm not sure what the result should be, but if there is some bug, please do write it to support@smartcat.ai. We will react to it quickly and fix it if something is wrong. Let us look at more questions. I see, okay, it doesn't work with you. It might be a bug, it might be a connection problem, so please do write to support. How to add a second native language? As I said, it is not possible at the moment. It is more a technical thing than a political thing or something. But in the future we might consider adding this. If you want us to do so, then please just write either from your support ticket functionality or just by emailing to support@smartcat.ai. By the way, if you have any questions, you can of course always send us an email, but a better option is always to use this question mark button, click contact support, choose the type of feedback, either just feedback or a question or an error, and add your details here. This way we will receive it in our bug tracking system, and frankly speaking it will be just at the moment easier for us to process it. Of course we cannot induce you, and you can use whatever means you find more convenient to you, but we would appreciate if wherever possible you could use this functionality instead of sending emails, but that's just a suggestion. How to ensure that PayPal fee is not paid by translator? I'm not sure how you can ensure this, but if you have any doubts, let me talk about this with our finance team, because I'm not quite sure if we can ensure this, but I know it is our policy to cover the commission. But let me check this. I will come back to you personally and maybe to all participants after the webinar. What if PayPal is not supported in your country? As I said, at the moment the only option is to use wire transfer, but we are working on other options, Skrill as well, as someone have mentioned. Oscar asks, hi, I have 2 profiles and would only like to use one. How can we delete an account? We can deactivate your account. Just write us a support request indicating the one you use and the one you don't use, and we will do what's necessary afterwards. Okay, at this point I think it makes sense for us to make a short break, maybe. I think 5 minutes will be enough. In 5 minutes we will get back and continue with further topics. Thanks. Okay, We are back. Liliana, you did not lose the sound, it's just that I turned on the mic because we had a short break. Is everything fine now? Okay, great. So we have two additional questions here. I see payment questions are on a roll today. By the way, I will go through all the questions asked at this webinar, and I will send a more maybe detailed responses to everyone who participated and everyone who registered, together with a link to the video and the presentation that I have on the other screen. Does SmartCAT plan to use Bitcoin as payment method? It's a really interesting question. I suggest that you write it to support, and I will also research this. I'm not sure. It seems like an interesting idea, but as you know, there are a lot of tricky questions involved. I forgot to share the screen. Let me do it right now. I have a great question from Fernanda, which asks, can freelance translators work as a team? Can they collaborate to each other, for instance, share glossaries? Yes, that's a great question, and I think the next webinar we are going to have will be dedicated precisely to this, how you can create teams of translators and tackle the issues like a real big LSP, because SmartCAT has all the tools for it. It will be also absolutely free for you to use. You can add as many users and translation memories as you like. You will even be able to get orders from other SmartCAT customers. So in this way you will be able to both issue orders for freelancers. For instance, if your own team cannot handle a project, you can find a freelancer just the same way as any other company, and you will also be able to accept orders from other customers and execute it as a team. And for us it is a very important direction in which we work. So I think there will be more news on this topic coming soon. And as I said, I plan to host the next webinar about this, which I will most likely host 2 weeks after this, or maybe a week after this. But in either case, I will of course send you all a notification. Tony asks, thanks by being so active, Tony, by the way. Many questions from you. I love that. No, really. When doing a job coming from you, I was obliged to change rates in my profile to meet the customer requirements, and I saw that I had to resume my original rates once the particular job was completed. Is that a standard procedure? Okay, it's of course a tricky topic, I know, but sometimes we do get orders from customers. Not actually we, but customers place orders on our system, and they write to us asking if we can negotiate other terms with the freelancers. In such case, we usually make a so-called pre-invitation, in which we send out the terms under which the customer requests the freelancer to work. If the translator accepts these rates, he or she can change the terms in his profile. We can also do this remotely from our admin panel, but we only do this if the translator agrees to it, so just we make less work for them, because sometimes projects can be quite pressing. I'm not sure, Tony, but I think you were in the latest PAMT project, which had very challenging deadlines, and we did make a lot of project management stuff in this project to gather the people. The question is, why do I need to change my standard rates in my profile? That's because the SmartCAT as a system can only work in a way that the customer hires the freelancer at the rate set in the freelancer's profile. So the only way that the customer can hire the translator at a different rate is for that rate to be different. There is also a My Team functionality. I will talk about it a bit later, where a customer can gather a team of trusted translators with whom he already worked on SmartCAT. And in this case, it is possible to set different rates for these freelancers for this exact customer. But to do so, the customer needs to want to add you as my team member. I will talk about this a bit later also. Ricardo asks, so where basically are jobs coming from? Where are the clients? Where can I contact them? Basically, how can I get jobs using SmartCAT? Also a great question. The clients place orders and start looking for freelancers. At the moment, you don't actually go looking for jobs at SmartCAT, rather than jobs go looking for you. We plan to introduce something different maybe a bit later, but for the time being this is working, and this is how it will probably work in the next couple months. But as our experience shows, if a translator has a compelling profile and is responsive, he never has a problem getting new jobs if we have an appropriate project coming. Basically, that's the answer. As I said, at some point later we will introduce a system where you will actually be able to express your interest in some job. It will probably work via the job aggregator that we have on our site. By the way, it's also an excellent service. For the time being, it works with major freelancing platforms such as Pros, Upwork, freelancer.com, and you basically have all the job invitations that appear on these platforms. You get them as one list, and you can be notified of new projects on any of them. So if it sounds interesting to you, do let me know, and I will also share it after the webinar with all the participants. Chen asks, I'm sorry Chen if Xinru is your real name, because I always have a hard time understanding when in Chinese names where you have the first name, where you have the last name. We have this bit of a problem here at SmartCAT because we don't distinguish between first and last name during registration, but okay, Xinru, sorry. I'm also sorry if I pronounce it the wrong way. If I am still an undergraduate student, how to build the education in the profile then? I think that being an undergraduate student is a great thing for a translator, because you're agile, you can accept more projects than probably a more experienced translator, because they would be more specialized. You are also active in the field you are undergraduate in, so you can indicate it in your bio that you are working, for instance, on biology or something, and if you add this specialization in your profile, then it will be compelling. So as I said, it is not required to be very experienced to work on SmartCAT. It works both ways. If your question is just technical about how you can fill in the profile education, because you should indicate the graduation date, then I don't think I can answer right away. Please do write to support@smartcat.ai. I think the guys will help you out quicker than I can now. Okay, let us proceed further where I had my presentation. Staying on top of search results. Probably this is the most important slide in our today's discussion, because it says what you have to do to be found by customers. And the main thing here is that you must work on SmartCAT. When the customer searches for translators, one of the top factors is how many words you have translated on SmartCAT. And it does not have to be the words you translated on customer orders. As we said in the beginning, you can translate your own documents in SmartCAT. The more you translate, the higher you get in the ranking. Also, a factor is how long ago you were on SmartCAT. It also takes a look at what exactly you did, so whether you opened a project and actually translated anything or just logged in and logged out. So the algorithm is quite sophisticated, but in general it is meant to ensure that the translators found by customers are experienced in SmartCAT, and be responsive, because one of the biggest problems customers face is when a translator is not responsive. So we strive to make our search results to include the most proficient and the most responsive translators on top. We will also at some point, of course, introduce some measure of quality. For the time being, we have this rating system where a customer can rate your work after you finish your job, and it also is included in ranking. For the time being, there are no other algorithms that can rate whether you are actually good as a translator, but we are working on that. As you can understand, it's not an easy topic to tackle, because even two translators can disagree on whether a translation is good or bad. Also, another way to get more orders is to engage the customer by showing them that you are not only a good translator, but you're also responsive, professional, you react to their comments fast, you suggest new entries for their glossaries and so on. You tell them all the bugs that you find in the source document. In general, it's quite the same as when you work with the customer outside SmartCAT. But here, if you do this, you are A, more likely to get a good rating, and B, you are more likely that the customer will add you to my team, after which he will most probably engage you for further work. And as I said, you must be responsive. When you have an invitation, you can accept it or decline it. If you ignore it, it is considered a penalizing factor in search results. So if we see that a translator is not responding to any invitations, we don't see any reasons why we should be sending more of them. So if you are unavailable, if you cannot accept a job, just click one button to decline it. It will not be there will be no problems if you decline a job, but there might be problems in terms of search results if you ignore it. And finally, we're planning to introduce tests, as I said, but it is not a feature that is coming anytime soon, because it is really hard to devise tests for each possible language pair and for each possible specialization. But we are working on that. Okay, let us see the questions we have now. I'm Rosaline. Hi Rosaline. I'm quite a new member on this platform and I wish to know how SmartCAT works. How can SmartCAT help freelancers to get customers? Well, that's exactly the topic I think I'm covering in this webinar. Maybe you joined recently, or maybe I explained something too vaguely. I will anyway share the video of this webinar and answers to your questions, so you can watch it once again if any questions remain, or even if you don't watch it and any questions remain, you can come back to me or to our support team. Basically speaking, the SmartCAT helps freelancers to get customers by ensuring that translators with good profiles and with good order history on SmartCAT stay on top of search results and are thus invited by customers to customer orders. As I said already, there are more than 100 customers looking for translators, more than 100 new translation projects started every day here. And many of them are quite bulky, so it is not like one project per one translator. Guys who took part in the PMT translation that we had a while ago, remember that there were up to 20 translators working at the document at the same time. This becomes possible through technology that SmartCAT provides. That's an off-topic, but just to give you an understanding, we translated 100,000 words, like 400 pages, in less than 24 hours. That's how fast translation can be with SmartCAT. And it all involved quality control with two-step workflow of translation and editing afterwards. Okay, I was hired. I missed one. Maria, is ABBYY expecting to hire any test validators, checkers? One point, it's not ABBYY. We don't have any relation to ABBYY at all now, as I already said. Is SmartCAT planning to hire any test validators, checkers? I don't know at the moment. I think that if we do so, it will be a limited number, because what we want is to use the most of the technology we have. I don't expect that we will have many validating jobs, but we of course can at some point come with a quality assessment department within SmartCAT, although we are also a bit reluctant to do that, because we want to position ourselves as a platform that connects customers to translators, but that does not directly manage projects or manages the quality. Still, you can always have a workflow when you have a translator, an editor and a proofreader, in which case you will have, of course, higher quality than when you just engage one translator. So that partially answers the question. I was hired by ABBYY as a not sworn translator. Does this affect my search results regarding clients? No, not at all. I mean, some customers do look for sworn translators, but these days I would say that the number of such customers is decreasing, because there are more efficient ways to find out if a translator is good or bad as a translator. But some still do, but it is not a very widespread experience, at least here in SmartCAT. Noticed I have 1 star for quality and 1 for time management on my profile. Does C automatically rate translators based on their experience or education? What's the highest star-based rating? First of all, I'm sorry for that. Of course, we cannot affect the way customers assess the quality or time management. If you are sure that, for instance, some review was incorrect, I suppose you can write us at support@smartcat.ai, and we will find some way to make an assessment. But at this point, we cannot do it on high scale. So it's not that I'm saying that each one of you that has had a rating that he doesn't agree to should write to us, because we probably wouldn't have the bandwidth to handle all of this. But of course, we can take both positions. We are not customers advocates. Neither we are translators advocates. We are staying neutral, we are staying friendly to both parties, and we wish for both parties to stay friendly to each other. In some cases, we've seen that a customer has changed the rating they have assigned initially. It also happens. Okay, let's go further. We have around half an hour to go. I think that will be just fine for us. Executing marketplace orders. So here I will once again show you some real workflow. Moreover, I will show you how the workspace of the customer looks like. I guess it might be interesting for you to see the project from the other side. So here you have this project in Spanish, which we will be translating to English. Here is this source file that I just found some time before the webinar. It talks about best friends, a good topic. So let's say we had a project. It is 2 and something thousand words long, and we have here the customer, who is also a translator, but she understands that she cannot handle this translation on time. That's why she looks for freelancers on SmartCAT. She clicks Assign Tasks. Here you see that there are 3 stages of translation. Let us select them. First of all, she can select herself, right? And she knows that, for instance, we have a deadline in 3 hours and she can only translate 1,000 words in this time frame. So she selects by word count. That's one feature of SmartCAT. You don't have to only select by segments. You can also put in the number of words. It will automatically calculate how many segments it is. She assigned it to herself, saved the assignment, and still she has 1,300 words left. and she starts looking for freelancers. By the way, that's a very popular nano LSP scenario we have on SmartCAT, where a freelance translator also acts as a customer. You can always create a new account and you can later link these accounts, but it's not something we will cover in this webinar, but do write to me if you need some details on how to do it. Now she clicks Find Freelancers. And here you see how actually the search results look like. Here we have the people we have in Spanish to English pair and who are native in English. First of all, when I remember I talked about time zone, here you can see whether a translator is currently in his or her day and time. For instance, we can be sure that Martin Bragalon has already 10 p.m. By the way, Martin, if you are here, hi. Not sure because he's probably an experienced user of SmartCAT, but anyway. So we do not have our Robert here, so let's search for him directly. That's not what the customers usually do, but let's do it like this time. Okay, we have Robert Mendes. We select him and there are two options. One is called bicycle, the other is called rocket, though I'm not sure why exactly bicycle and rocket, but anyway, when you set the bicycle mode, you must assign the segments to each translator afterwards. And if you, for instance, invite 10 translators, you then assign segments to each of them. If you have a 10,000 word document, you assign 1,000 to each of them. And the rocket mode is when the first one to accept the project gets it in its full, and all the others receive notifications that the invitation was declined. In our case, as we know, Arlette is also going to be translating. That's why we use the manual control. We confirm it, and by the way, here is an option to make a custom invitation text when you receive I will show it, okay. Hi there, I need this done in 4 hours. Sorry. Okay, save and confirm. Before we assign segments, the invitation is not yet sent out because the system doesn't know exactly how many segments we want to assign. So we choose assign segments, and in this case we assign the whole undistributed segment to Robert. We click assign, and as soon as we click save assignment, the invitation is sent to the assigned translator. I think I will shortly receive this notification somewhere here. Let us wait. Okay, we have it. Let's go to our mail. This is some previous invitation, never mind it. Here we have invitation. So what we can see from it? First of all, we can see the word count, we can see the rate. We can see who the customer is, and we can, by the way, this name is clickable. So if you click on it, you can see the profile of the customer that is engaging you. You can see, for instance, their payment terms. You must add 5 days here because it is the time after we receive money from the customer when we pay to freelancers. There can be much more information here, but I did not customize it. So, and it also is not a real company. This is why it is the way it is. So here you can decline, and as I already said, if you cannot take the job, do decline it. And you also can see these custom comments. Probably they are not written in a very visible place, but please always take a look if there are any custom comments, because they can be quite important. For instance, in the PMT project we had a link to all the guidelines for doing the post-editing job, which were essential to the translation. Anyway, once you are here and you want to consider the job, you click view the details. Here you can see the basic data about the project. For instance, you can see its name. You can see again who the customer is. You can see the statistics by words, how many repetitions are there, because which is important, repetitions are not rated at the same price as new text. And here you can see that, for instance, 100 matches are not paid. From 95 to 99% matches are paid only at 10%, and so on. You can also see that the whole value of the assigned task is $70. Now, of course, you probably don't want to accept a job you know nothing about. That's why you click Preview. You can see here, by the way, that it says that it's a view mode and that more details are provided on the project page, because some translators did not understand that. They tried to start translating right away, but as you see, the segments are locked. You cannot translate anything yet, but you can take a look at the document, which is important, of course. Okay, let's say we like this job, so we go back, let's close this window, and click Ready to join. After this, you see that here we have this Translate button. Also, when you go to your project, let's assume you went out of this window and you want to get back to it. You see here it is written that it is work from a customer. When you hover on it, there are two options. You either can start translating it by unfolding this folder and clicking Translate, or you can click Go to Project and get back to this dashboard that we just saw. Let's say we will discuss communications in more detail in the next slide, but let's say you want to discuss some terms with the customer. We get back to the project and we can see that there is actually a chat window here. And you can also click Discuss the offer, which is the same functionality. And here you can write, "Hi, I can make it in 5 hours instead of 4. Is that okay?" And when you go back to Arlette, who also has a dashboard of all freelancers engaged, it's not here, I will show you now. You go in the project dashboard, there is a button that's named Project Freelancers. Once the customer clicks it, she sees the list of all freelancers who were invited to the project, who accepted it and who declined it and who ignored it. And she sees the chat here. If she is not here, she will of course get a notification that there was a chat message that she needs to respond to. So okay, we respond, okay, that's fine. It should have been done, of course, before accepting the job, but let's pretend we didn't notice. So let's get back to our project and click Translate to see how the actual execution looks like. Okay, here for instance we see that one line is already translated from the translation memory. We don't know why it was. Maybe it was from some early translation the customer made, or maybe it's the customer who started translating herself. We don't have to know it. What we do have to know, I will come back to this also later, is that unless it's absolutely necessary, do not correct such translations because you won't be paid for it. If, for instance, you see some mistake here, you can use the commands functionality, but we will also come to this later on. So let's just start translating to see how it works. She was the first to speak, but instead of saying hello, She asked, "Are you from Children International?" After each segment you have to confirm it. It's very important because unless you confirm a segment, you are not paid for it. Moreover, if you translate a lot of segments and do not confirm any of them, then there is no way a customer can quickly understand that you worked it at all. So she may just assume you are not working and she will just give it away for another translator, and this new translator will see that there are translations here. He will just confirm them all and get the money. Of course, in most cases, we, SmartCAT, as the mediator, will come into play and we will probably find a solution that's acceptable for all parties, but don't do like this, please, because it gives a lot of headache to everyone involved. So once you're done with a segment, you press Ctrl Enter or this button here, but it's always quicker to just press Ctrl Enter. By the way, most of functions have their own shortcuts that allow doing work more quickly. I won't translate a lot, of course. I will not do a full-fledged translation job now, but I want to show one thing. I'm not sure how I should translate Hasan Payasadas. I must think of it, but let's see something like acting silly. Maybe we can find a better wording for this. Okay, when we switch to the next segment, you see to the left, this arrow here indicates that it is a segment that is repeated throughout the document, and you got your translation automatically inserted. So you don't have to worry that you miss some TM match. It is inserted automatically unless you tell it not to. It is inserted, we don't do anything with it, as we said, we just confirm it. Now, okay, I will not go further. We see that the overall progress is 60 words. It can be much greater if, for instance, you are not the only translator working on the document. By the way, if there would be more translators, you would see here the number of translators working, but you would not see their names, and no one else besides the customer can see your name either. So this information is hidden from freelancers. Now let's go to our dashboard and refresh it to see what's happening and how much money have we earned already. Here you have translated 48 payable words. That's because some of these words were 100% matches and they are not paid for. So you can see that you have already earned, let me see, a lot of windows cluttering the view here. You have completed work worth of $2 US. Hooray! That's it. So you keep translating, you keep checking your progress, and an important thing is you keep communicating with the customer. And it's actually the next topic, and I think it's the penultimate topic that I want to touch. Communicating with the customer. There are several ways to communicate with the customer in SmartCAT. First of all, you have comments on the document. If you come back here, you can, for instance, write to the customer that, "Can you send me the original document, please?" It might make more sense to write it in chat, but if you write it here, the comment is seen to all participants. So for instance, you could write even like, you can delete a comment if it's written less than 15 minutes ago. "Could you send us the original document, please?" By the way, it makes sense to make such an inquiry. In general, you can always click this button, download. You can download the original file, if it is doc or PDF or anything else, you can easily see the document to understand what is where, and maybe you make some fine-tunings to your translation. But in case of HTML, if you have... Oh no, it looks fine. Okay, I thought it would not look fine because there would be some problems with formatting images and so on, but looks like SmartCAT is even more awesome than I thought. But in any case, there might be cases when you want to leave a comment on the whole document where there may be some problems with the whole document. You can also leave a comment to a certain segment. For instance, you can, if you don't like a translation of some segment that you cannot change, you can change it maybe, but you will not get paid for it. You can say that this translation is not relevant. Can you agree that I change it and get paid afterwards? It's not the best way to put it because it will mean a lot of manual processing for us, but there are cases where, for instance, a translation memory provided by the client is of poor quality, and some responsible translator, and translators must be responsible, of course, he notices it and makes such a comment. And in this case, the customer will get email notification of your message, and not as soon, but sometime after they reply, usually in 5 to 10 minutes, you will get also a notification on your email. One other way to talk to the customer is using the chat functionality, which I already described. I will stop. I won't talk more about it now. Also, I forgot to put one thing in my presentation. We are planning to make Slack integration at some point where you will be able to, in case someone doesn't know, Slack is the very trendy tool for team communication, and we are planning to introduce it at some point. It is under development now. Still, the customer can be not responsive. Such things also happen. If it is the case, just write to us at support@smartcat.ai, and we will do our best to make them respond. Okay, let us see if you have any other questions. Cynthia said that she might need to leave early. I think she probably already left, but yes, we will have a recorded version afterwards that I will send to everyone participating. Fernanda asks, could you please show again where I find the statistics of the project? Yes, I will show it right away. You just go to your workspace and click Go to Project. The project view that you have when you execute a customer order is very different from the one you have when you make your own translation, when you do your own translation work. That's one of the differences. So when you click Go to Project for a customer order, you actually get to the dashboard where you can see all the details. Pavel asks, why SmartCAT cannot accept .pot files for translation? Pavel, I cannot competently answer right now, but please do write to us at support@smartcat.ai or using the feedback tool, because we keep record of all feature requests sent, and if we see that a certain feature is requested many times, we will certainly implement it in the future, especially if you spend maybe 2 to 5 minutes explaining why it might make sense to make a certain file format supported. An excellent question from Ricardo. What is your suggestion in dealing with competition and other linguists charging ridiculously low rates? Our suggestion is to, of course, for now I cannot be speaking purely on behalf of SmartCAT, yes, because we are not consultancy, but I would say that the only way you can handle with competition and ridiculously low rates of other linguists is by building on your name, by showing repeatedly that what you provide is better than what others who charge twice as low as you provide. And in this context, SmartCAT is different from many other online translation platforms. I won't call the names, but I already said here you work under your own name, and you case by case you prove to the customer that what you do is better. That's how you handle it. Moreover, in SmartCAT projects there are a lot of cases when a project is split between linguists with very different rates. If we, for instance, have an urgent project and we cannot and there is not enough linguists at a lower rate that to make it on time, we will also, not we, of course, the customer will also sometimes hire more expensive translators, and that's an excellent chance for that translator to make the customer feel the difference. So just do what you do best and make others know, and I think that's the best way to handle it. Moreover, it's maybe I'm speaking too early here, but as the head of community, I'm currently considering the options we have to launch a SmartCAT community on which you will be able to answer questions from less experienced translators, on which you will be able to post articles in the blog and to advertise yourself among other members of community, a lot of them, a lot of whom are customers. And I think it will be an excellent opportunity to reinforce what we already have here. Another question from Tony. Hello again and thanks for your patience. Tony, I really meant that when I said that I love that you ask a lot of questions. Please ask as many as you need. I will just get back to Pavel, who said that POT files are template GNU text, get text files for PO files. I am afraid I cannot go in that much technical detail. I know that we do support PO files, but for POT files, it really needs someone more technically educated than me. A question from Tony is, how the translator can know about payment terms of the end customer? How the translator can identify that the whole project is completed so he can get paid? Okay, the way to know the payment terms is go to the dashboard, because it is written here what the payment terms are. The standard text we have here is within 7 days after completion, but many customers change it to 15 or even 30 days. You know that that's the industry, that's how the industry works. Being a translator myself, I know that it's sometimes annoying that you have to wait for 2 months to get paid. What we can do from our side here is to ensure that we pay to you quickly. But regarding waiting for the whole project to be completed, that is something that we cannot really change, because if the project is big and your assignment was only partial, it is not possible to pay to some translators before the whole project is completed and checked by the customer, because the customer must also accept it. We haven't had such cases yet, but there might be cases of bad faith from the translator, for instance, when they would put some gibberish in the translation, in which case their job would not be translated. At the moment, all our translators are ultimately paid. We don't have cases of translators not being paid. Moreover, sometimes, very rarely, when the customer is unresponsive, we can understand the translator's position and even reimburse the costs from our own purse. Of course, we cannot do it for each and every order, but then again, we want everyone to be happy. That's why we act like normal people would act in such situation. Magali asks, besides being able to chat with the project manager, are we freelancers able to chat with other freelancers working on the same project? Not yet, not yet. I imagine that with Slack integration this would be possible. I also can say that you can not really chat, but you can leave segments, comments to segments of the document. This way you can discuss the document with other translators. For instance, you can discuss terminology or something. but there is no way to quickly chat. We are working on that. We understand that it is important for teamwork, so I think there will be an update coming at some point about this. And thanks for reminding of this. I think I will take a look where we are here and maybe make it more streamlined. Okay, actually I think we have ran out of time. I will just end by saying the do's and don'ts of working in SmartCAT. It will be very quick. So do confirm segments, as I said, because let me do it like this to make it pretty. Do confirm segments because otherwise it might get messy. Do pay attention to TM matches because otherwise it can get messy. Do suggest glossary entries. I haven't showed it yet, just quickly. No, it's not this one. If you have some entry that you want the customer to add to the glossary, you of course cannot end it yourself, but you can always select the term, click the suggest entry button here, or just press Ctrl E and suggest this entry. The customer will receive it in their workspace and they will be able to either approve it or decline it. If they approve it, let me show it. I think we have 5 minutes more. I don't think it's that big of a problem. We go to project glossaries and we open of course the glossary and we see here the term that our Robert has suggested. Here it is. The customer would click tick, the term would be added to the glossary. This way, next time you get to the segment, it would be automatically highlighted and you would have, in the CAT panel, you would have this suggestion that you could put into your text by just clicking, in this case, Ctrl 2, and it will put in automatically the word that is the translation. Back to do's and don'ts. Do let customer know of any changes to your schedule. I mean, if you are suddenly sick, God forbid, or if you have any other urgent assignments, do let the customer know, do let us know so we can handle it appropriately. Do not translate in the comments, as I already said. For some reason, I don't know why, but many people, when they find that they cannot edit a segment, they start translating in the comments, which is not the way you should do it because it won't help anyone. Do not correct 100% matches, and last but not least, do not split or merge segments. There is a functionality in SmartCAT that allows you to, for instance, select 2 segments and click join them. I will now do exactly what I told you not to do, just to show how it works. The problem is when you do it like this, and for instance, if it is a multilingual project, this segment is joined in all the language pairs, and if some other language pair someone has already worked on this segment, it would get lost and they would need to insert the translation once again. Also, it would make it harder to make updates to the document when you can, for instance, introduce some changes to the source document, upload it once again and have it pre-translated. If you split or merge a segment, of course, then the TM match will be not the same as for the new document, and in this case it won't work the way it is intended. In some of the future releases we will just allow project managers to forbid splitting, merging segments for certain projects, but for the time being, please just remember this rule and do not split, merge segments. And finally, the last thing I want to say, do not get lost. Do not disappear, do not become irresponsive, because that's the worst thing that can happen to the project manager or to SmartCAT. There's nothing as bad as losing a translator 2 hours before the deadline. So that's it. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. Hopefully I answered your questions. Although the time is already up, if some of you want to stay to ask some questions, I would gladly answer. Others who want to leave right now, I want to thank you for coming here. It was really exciting to have so many of you, almost 50 people, at one point more than 50 people. I will, as I already said, I will send you the video recording, some summary of questions asked and answers given, and also the presentation and maybe some other interesting materials related to this webinar. And please stay in touch. I will be sending more newsletters with more exciting news from SmartCAT soon. So I will be waiting for further cooperation with you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Emilia. Thank you, Inma. Thank you, Zia. Zia asked a question. I will answer a bit later. Thank you, Maricel. Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you, Sofia. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Oscar. Okay, I will wait a bit for all the thank yous to end, and then I will come back to questions. Thank you, Cynthia. Zia asked what is the next step to be assigned for projects. As I said, complete your profile, make sure that you fill all the points, that you indicate all the information I made. And one last thing I want to say to those who are still here, that please do translate more on SmartCAT. The more you translate in your own accounts for yourself or for your existing customers, the more you have the chances to be invited to further projects, because it is a major ranking factor in the search results. I even would give a challenge to all of you that you, after this webinar, you go and translate 250 words in your own SmartCAT account, and you let me know how it was, if it was as exciting as we want it to be. And if you have any problems, any questions, do ask me at vova@smartcat.ai at any time. Now I will get back to questions. Zia also asks, is attendance of the webinar enabled in profile like a check button? Thanks for the idea. We might at some point add it to indicate that the user is really active in the SmartCAT community. Not at the moment, but that's a good idea. Thank you. Coming back to thanks. Thank you, Libok. Thank you, Magali. Thank you, Zhenya. Thank you, Fernanda. Thank you, Zamora. Thank all of you. If there are no questions coming, let's say in 1 minute, I will be then ending this webinar. And for the 100th time, though it is not ever too many, thank all of you. Okay then, to all of you one last time, thank you, bye bye, ta-ta.